Good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of the VisionRoot video blog from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. I'm your host, Richard Urban. First, I'd like to start with today's scripture reading from Isaiah 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. That's from the King James Version. So today I'd like to talk about the topic, are you under a spell of Satan? And this isn't just a metaphorical topic, but is a very important topic. As we've been talking about many topics related to, of course, God's providence and specifically some of the situations in the family, federation, world peace, and unification. One question I'd like to ask about is, how do we get in the current state where there are people who believe that Hachan Moon, Mother Moon, has, can do no wrong, and then others, like myself, can see clearly, wow, there's something not right, we need to make adjustments. And I'd like to give an analogy too. The other day I was on the Beltway here in DC. I was driving along, and then there was a sign said, there's a major crash at, Colesville Road or somewhere, so I said, okay, let me get off and avoid that. On the other hand, previously I was on the Baltimore Beltway. There was a sign and I didn't exit quickly enough and was stuck in the jam for an hour and a half or whatever. So there's certain momentum to keeping going on the way you're going, even though you know something's wrong. I hope that could be a helpful analogy for the situation of Family Federation. And a lot of times we project our beliefs onto what we're looking to believe, until probably about 2003, when I already have been in the Family Federation movement, for like more than 25 years, more like almost 30 years. Then I never worried about, any kind of corruption or that anything's wrong. And then I had certain circumstances came up to me, like I had some, disagreement with a certain pastor, and something like that happened. And then I started thinking more about it. And then in 2011, I discovered there was corruption going on in the DC church. Well, I reported that to the, hierarchy of the director, who said, why are you saying there's corruption like that? And even I called that kind of activity fraudulent. He said, oh, why are you saying that? And it wasn't ever dealt with. And in fact, those kind of things are still an issue. So the point about it is, are we willing to accept corruption? Apparently that was okay with that director. So then later in 2013, I presented my concerns to the newly formed district council, which is 12 people who were elected from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Well, their collective response to my concerns about corruption having to do with leadership at the Washington, D.C. Family Federation was, why do you even bring that up? It's like there's something wrong with me for bringing it up. And so none of the people wanted to deal with the corruption. So that told me something right there, because at least there should have been a hearing of what the concerns were, but there wasn't. And then more recently, I found out that simultaneously other people were reporting about similar things, who I didn't even know about. So it seems like those who are not tolerant of things that are wrong more easily understand what is going on right now, like in our movement. But are you willing to accept corruption? Apparently those 12 quote-unquote esteemed leaders, it was no problem. It was okay with them. They were able to, accept it. And then now, is it surprising that those same leaders, many of them, can't seem to see what's going on in our movement, can't understand how the scriptures have been changed? Like Reverend Moon said, don't change these scriptures. I set these scriptures for you. But yet they've been completely changed. But they say, oh, that's okay. True mother and true father are one. Really? Well, these are the same people many of them who were willing to accept corruption. So I think we do have to be careful about conflicts of interest. Also, do we have a conflict of interest in, receiving payment from the Family Federation or some organization. Also, I was somewhat surprised or interested to see how strongly Reverend Moon, Father Moon, had spoken about, like when Hyun Jin Moon, the second son, he ran off with all the money, or a lot of the money from the church organizations that were clearly designated to support church projects. So many of the unification members worked or still work for Hyunjinim. Well, I wouldn't be comfortable doing that, but also Father Moon said so clearly in several videos that I had never seen. I'd seen maybe a memo saying, in 2010 that, Hyunjinim would be the heretic and the destroyer. I never saw the video of that until Hyunjinim, the youngest son, showed that video. And recently I saw other videos where Father said so clearly that even those people who stole the money, don't they have any common sense? Even by American law, they'll go to jail. I never saw that video. Well, why not? And talking about videos, why have we never seen the videos of Hyungjinim's inauguration ceremony when true father and true mother, true parents, they inaugurated Hyungjinim and Yeonanim to be the leaders of 3 times, not just once, 3 times, to be the inheritors and representatives of true parents. Those videos are nowhere to be found. Why not? Because the Family Federation doesn't want to release them. Why didn't we see, or most of us, see those other videos that Father said strongly do not follow, Hyunjinim? Well, they weren't ever made publicly available. Why didn't we see the video Father said to put on the internet saying clearly that Hyunjin was a heretic and destroyer, but not just Hyunjin, anybody that doesn't accept what Father said? What other things did Father say, especially in the later years, that we never heard about? A lot of things, I believe, we never heard about. They were edited out. Hyungjinim explains that sometimes Father had some dispute with Mother, with Mrs. Hak Jahan Moon. Did you ever hear about that? Sometimes on different forums, people are saying, true parents are one. Well, Hyungjin says that's clearly not the case, and it's very presumptuous to say that you know more about than he does, living with true parents the last 2.5 years of their life, and all the time before that, most of the time. So it's clear there is a video of Father inaugurating Hyunjinim as the Family Federation president, and also in that he does speak about the inheritance that he's passing on to Hyunjinim. So I will, following, you'll see the excerpts of that.
그러면 이 시간을 중 삼아가지고 전부 다 명령계통은 한 계통으로 해야 돼. 그런 달교 전체에 있어서의 세계나 중심 살고 중 삼아가지고 중심이 쭉 고정할 만큼 앞으로 전부 다 거기에 내가 같은 대신을 맡겨줄 거예요. 지금 우리 식구들 가운데서 신앙 체험으로 보나 뭐든 보나 형진이 수준을 넘어설 사람이 없어. 알겠나? 인정하는 거야. 문형진 여기에 이연아. 임연아. 두 아들 딸이 두 부부가 돼가지고 부모님 앞에 서가지고 오늘 교체하는 이 천한 시기에 있어서의 참부부를 모신 그런 자리에 모든 것을 대신해서 모실 수 있는 대신자 상속의 권한을 이제 이어받는 이전에 되어 있기 때문에 에덴에 있어서의 타락하지 않은 아들딸을 축복해주고 느끼지 못한 신종권을 다시 이어가져가지고 제4차 이상 천국의 시대에서 해방 속방에 해배 자주장할 수 있는 하나님이 중심 육군석 만사를 지랄 시대로 진임할 수 있는 시대까지 연결시켜줄 그 아버지가 되리라고 합니다. 두 아들 딸이 참부모의 대신 상속의 권한을 가르쳐주는 것이 쉽지 않은 것을 아는 참부모는 남겨진 길지 않은 생애의 끝에 있어서 이들이 있는 정성 나아야 만민들 앞에 가야 할 길이 어떻게를 교시할 수 있는 하나의 대신
really
포인트가
point
되고
out that
대신
it really is a spell of Satan if we can't see even what is so right in front of us. The desecration of the scriptures, the leaving position of Mrs. Hak Jahan Moon, the hiding of information. Why don't you ask the Family Federation leaders why they don't release those videos of Hyung Jinim's ceremony of coronation or passing on of the inheritance from Father Moon? Why not? Isn't that part of the history of our church? What else has been changed? What else? Even I just was looking at the Today's World. I wanted to see if there were some old ones available. I noticed that that is now no longer in publication. It's part of the History Committee. I guess that's the same committee that decided they didn't need the Chun Sung Gyung and everything else. Well, do you think you're going to get clear information from that committee? I don't think so. So please be aware. Please pray desperately. See if there's anything that's a conflict of interest in your life that could see clearly, see plainly. Have you accepted corruption as normal? I don't believe God can accept evil as good, as we said in the reading today. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, please subscribe, like it, comment on it. This is Richard Urban from Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And have a great day and be blessed. Until next time, take care.